Welcome to week 5 of the fantasy football season. Your star RB is either hurt, on a bye, or now in a timeshare. And you're looking at this week's lineup thinking, how am I going to win this one? Well, don't worry. We've got you covered because on today's episode of the Regression to the Mean podcast, we have the only running back rankings you will need to win your week 5 matchup. I'm your host, Sean. I'm joined by my co-host, good friend, fellow knower of ball, the man with the best mustache in the fantasy football industry, Keegan Thompson. Keegan, how are we doing today, man?
Yeah, are there too many are there actually enough fantasy analysts to have a mustache that we could compare and contrast to? I feel like that's not a big thing in the industry.
It's a beard industry. Big bearded
beard industry.
White guys with beards. That's kind of the look. So I think you're standing out a little bit here with the mustache.
I like the hat, Sean. I see we're both rocking the Kuno Cowboy gear today.
Yes, we are communal boys. I don't know. We've had a lot of new members joining the Mean Team. A lot of people watching our videos for the first time. Keegan has a brand called Communal Cowboy that him and his buddies from Austin,
the free
Texas
promo
started.
plug to the listeners.
I'm rocking the dang hat. Is that hat out now? The good boy, is that cowboy hat? Is that
cowboy.
out or is it pre-release?
Yeah, here, I'll put it to the camera for everybody. Cowboy hemp company.
I think I might need to get me one of them.
It's brand new.
Fresh.
It's not out yet. We've just shot them for studio shots. I just want the listeners to know that I did not contract Sean for that. He's not being compensated. And no, we do not have a promo code. That was just off the rip. So I appreciate that.
And look, this isn't just like your normal brand. Like Bijan Robinson's rocking their stuff.
Oh, come on.
Who Brooks Koepka's rocking your stuff? Who else is rocking your stuff? Like it's people are rocking communal. Like you guys have some of the best hats out. So
yeah, I saw Bijan actually posted another video. He did some kind of like NFL promo where he like met up with this DJ and the DJ was going to teach him how to, spin some decks, and he was wearing the hat again. I'm like, this guy loves this hat.
It's kind of amazing. It fits it with his hair.
No, dude, he's wearing it backwards. He's on the last 2 buttons. I can see it. It's almost falling off, but hey, he likes it.
And look, Communal Cowboy aside, we have a kind of a stinky slate for week 5 in terms of the running back position. I've ranked the top 46. It was pretty hard to get to 46. I'm not going to lie.
One day you probably could stop at 37. I'm looking at 38 through 46. Probably. But for the listeners, I just want you guys to know how far Sean will go to give you any type of insight into any running back or wide receiver.
Tier 6 is rough. I would not, if you... Tier 6 is rough, but hey, look, it's rough out there right now with injuries and bye weeks. So you might be having to start some of these guys. So I want to give you kind of a perspective on it in my rankings here. So if you're new to our rankings show, it's pretty simple. I've ranked the top 46 running backs. I've broken them into 6 tiers. I'm going to take you all through each tier, and I'm going to share guys that I'm higher or lower on versus Fantasy Pros expert consensus rankings. As I go through each tier, Keegan, he's going to share some thoughts on guys he likes and doesn't like for the week. So I might even say love, hate. Start, sit, however you want to approach it. Yeah, maybe. Right.
I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. And as the listeners who are new, those of you who have been joining us for the rankings, Sean's developing an RTM score, which he can get into a little bit more. But effectively, we're taking some weighted percentages based off expected points, opponent rankings versus this position, advancing points per game against that rank. But it's a nice little formula, and it's starting to figure its way out. There are still maybe some outliers, I think, but the RTM score is cooking. RTM score really like Kenneth Walker last week, you said, and that went really well for Kenneth Walker. So we love it. We're getting better every week. We've got our own rankings. We've got RTM scores to add into those rankings. It's good stuff here.
Yeah, but I'd also love Devin Achane, and unfortunately, I don't have a Snoop Huntley multiplier in there. I got to figure out how to take into account
we'll get into that
bad quarterbacks today. Yeah. Okay, so again, pretty simple here. I'm going to take you through my rankings. I'm going to do a screen share. I'm going to walk you through how it all works, but don't feel free like you need to squint or take notes. If you did that, by the way, that's amazing. A+ student. But again, the link is in the bio of this video, description of this video. So feel free to check out the link. It is just a Google Sheet for now. One day we'll have a website, but for now it's a Google Sheet. And again, if you have any start sit questions, drop them in the comments below. Before we do that though, Keegan, I imagine this is somebody's first time watching us, maybe second time. YouTube suggested the video. They saw the thumbnail. They decided to click. Like, what's going on here? If this is someone's first, second time watching one of our videos, what should the people do at home?
Yeah, there's a lot of fantasy football content out there today, Sean. There's a lot of people, like maybe you're watching Underdog, maybe you got recommended from an ETR video, maybe you're watching the Fantasy Pros channel, and maybe you're thinking, do I really need to add another channel to pay attention to? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But the only way you'll ever find out is if you actually sit and watch one of our videos. Give us an honest 10 minutes. If you love it, stay for 15. You really love it, stay for 25. Give us a whole shout for the video. And if you like a ranking that Sean has, or you called out a player that you think is also going to go off this week, drop a comment. Let us know you're excited about it. If you love the RTM score, if you think it's silly, drop a comment and maybe give us a like. And if after that, hopefully we've earned your sub.
Yeah, it's simple. It's simple. Just rock with us for a little bit. If you're vibing, you're vibing. And you know what? If we give you a bad recommendation and you unfollow, I'm not going to take it personally. I may go cry in a corner somewhere, but
we will take it personally.
Hey, look, it's all good. Okay, I'm going to pull up the rankings here for Week 5 running backs. Later in the feed, you're going to see Week 5 wide receivers. Caveat here: we're recording this Wednesday, October 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Pacific time. So not all the injury news is out yet. So there's some guys who got some DMPs on Wednesdays. We'll learn more. So I'll call out some guys who didn't practice today to keep an eye out that could impact these rankings. Also, again, just real quick, when you're taking a look at the rankings, you have my rank here in column A, the player's name, the implied team total rank, right? How much are they projected from Vegas? You have ECR, which is where Fantasy Pros is ranking them. My difference against ECR, so guys that I'm taking a stand on or against. And then we got fantasy points per game rank, expected fantasy points per game rank, which is usage, minus expected fantasy points for fantasy points per game. It gets you efficiency. We want guys who are efficient. But if some guys are in the red, maybe they're due for positive regression. So something to call out. And then again, opponent versus RB fantasy points per game rank. This is where their opponents stack up in terms of points per game to the position. And then lastly, in column L, you are going to get the RTM score. The RTM score is going to tell you, what all these factors combined spits out in terms of their rank for the week. And then we got our notes over here. I'll reference those. But starting off here with tier 1, Keegan, 5 running backs. Just how we drew it up in the summer. Jordan Mason, running back 1. That's just how we all drew it up, right? Derrick Henry, running back 2. Kyren Williams, running back 3. K9, Kenneth Walker at 4. Alvin Kamara at 5. Not really a big change up for the first two. Jordan Mason, Derrick Henry kind of seem to be the consensus. Both have really good matchups against bad run defenses in Arizona and Cincinnati, respectively. I'm one spot above with Kyren. I'm a big Kyren guy. He's getting a huge workload. His production's starting to pick up. They're blocking it better, and he scores a touchdown every single week. So give me a Kyren. The guy I'm taking a stand on is Kenneth Walker. I've got him 3 spots ahead of expert consensus rankings. Seattle has a top 5 team implied total rank this week. In the 2 games he's played, he's been the RB2 in fantasy. He has top 7 usage, and he's efficient on top 7 usage. Giants have been decent against the run, but I'm not fading K9. And whenever you can make a somersault reception like he did.
That was insane. That was the coolest first down I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah, K9's the shit, dude. I'm a Niner fan, so I kind of, it's rough. But no, K9 is allowed in this household for sure. Okay, I'll pause here, tier 1. Anyone speaking your language before we get to tier 2?
Yeah, no crazy call-outs. Hilarious to see Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara in the top 5, just like we drew it up. It's the old man's league until they're not in the league anymore. Derrick Henry leading the league in the NFL. That I think he was the fastest runner in the NFL this year on that long touchdown run that he had.
Insane.
That he broke wide was insane that he can still break runs like that. And it looks like he's just gliding out there. A lot of good call outs, I think, on some of the expected fantasy points per game. There's a couple teams in here, Baltimore, New Orleans, that have some of the highest expected usage at the running back position as a team as well, too. So it's not just these players getting good expected usage. Like, these teams are pretty committed to running the ball. Detroit's first on a half-point PPR basis, and the Saints are second. Vikings are third, and Baltimore's fourth, right? And the Rams are fifth behind that. So it's not just these players. Well, maybe for the Rams, it's just Kyren, but these are some teams very committed to using their running backs. So looks like a good top 5 to me this week.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is insane. He had 19 carries and 9 targets in week 4. Like, that usage is absurd for for Alvin Kamara for AK. Tier 2 here, I've got Aaron Jones, RB6. I've got Devin Achane, RB7. Breece Hall, RB8. Joe Mixon, RB9. Jonathan Taylor, RB10. Brian Robinson, 11. Bijan Robinson, 12. Okay, so important callouts in this tier. I'm high on Aaron Jones. It's hard not to be. He has top 3 usage, top 7 production. I know it's a rough matchup against the Jets. They're playing in London. It's a little wonky, but he's been one of the best players in fantasy through 4 weeks. Feel really good about Aaron Jones in this matchup. I'm not going to quit Achane. He still has top 2 usage. Is the second best usage of any running back. Their offensive line blows. Snoop Huntley look lost. Mike McDaniel can't call it up. It's bad out here, but I think we're going to see Achane positively regress. I'm holding out hope here. Hopefully he's healthy. Breece Hall, down on Breece Hall. He's losing touches right now. This offense that they're running with Aaron Rodgers is it's not scheming it up for Breece Hall, because a lot of the times Aaron Rodgers comes to the line of scrimmage with a pass play called, and he checks into a run. And, Breece is one of these guys that probably needs some schemed up looks, some more designed rushes. I don't know if he necessarily thrives in the checking at the line of scrimmage and just running a power to the running back. I don't know. You're the expert. Like, do you have any idea of what's going on with Breece here in the Jets? Like, he's losing touches to Braelon Allen. Braelon looks good. I know Salah's not going to shy away from Breece. He called Breece his workhorse, but it's hard to be really confident about Breece Hall. Yeah, I'll pause here. Any thoughts on Breece Hall before I get to these other 3?
Yeah, I think the usage is still pretty strong for Breece. He had 3 weeks of 20 total touches. Then he's down slightly below that. I think the 15, 16 range in week 4, which is still more than you could ask for. Than most running backs, there are very few workhorses. I know everybody thought that Breece would be a workhorse this year, but look, the touches are still there. I do agree that running Aaron Rodgers' offense is not necessarily conducive to anybody but Aaron Rodgers and who he's deciding to pass the ball to. It's not working well for the rush game or the run game. And, without Rodgers, Breece was fantastic last year. I think it's all going to continue to work itself out though. They're getting more gelled. You made a comment to me because I was, I'm in hell about the Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall saying right now, but it's effectively done with preseason, right? These guys have now just played full 4 games together. So hopefully some of that stuff irons out. Somebody in a similar situation this too that I want to talk about too is Devon Achane, and you highlighted it. Insane usage at the running back position, but we hope to see 1 extra week of Tyler Huntley within the offense improve the situation. They do play New England, which is a pretty good spot to be in. I think the defense is good, and Christian Gonzalez and their DBs are pretty good as well, but it's a good opportunity. I would love to say Breece is going to break out, and I'm not sitting here thinking that Braelon Allen's going to take his lunch either. This is Breece Hall we're talking about. They just have to iron out a couple things on the offense. And one good thing about Aaron Rodgers is he's going to demand, success, and it might be annoying, and it looks annoying when he's getting angry at his star players, but he just wants to hold people accountable. So I think it'll get better. He also knows that Breece is a weapon in the receiving game and will continue to go to him. So.
Yeah, and one thing on Achane too, I think Mostert helps, honestly.
He needs some relief. The Jalen Wright thing, I think is not helps. Enough relief.
No, I don't think Jalen Wright's good enough. My thoughts on Jalen Wright.
Yeah, it's just that's a good call out. Healthy running back by committee thing, because Achane was so good on minimal touches and efficiency, but I've always argued that he can be a workhorse, and it does look like he can, but he needs a breather. He's the only person on offense that is getting touches right now, basically every time, because they can't throw the ball. So it's Achane or bust, and teams aren't really threatened by the pass game. So until they are, it's going to be rough sledding for him.
Yeah, they're just loading up on Achane, and they can't block. It's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. It's a really bad run out for Achane.
Yeah. And
Tua's supposed to be back in week 8, though. So we'll see where – moral conundrums aside, we'll see what happens when Tua comes back.
I like the Aaron Jones rank here too as well. Like I mentioned, Minnesota's 3rd in RB usage in the league, based on expected half PPR points. And also Jets have, for some reason, always been susceptible to pass catching backs. And they have this kind of mentality of they don't have to earn every yard in the rush game. They're down to get gashed for 5-6 yards a pop and just hold strong 10 toes, maybe force you to field goal. But there is positive yards at play for Aaron. The 2 interesting calls there are the injured guys, right? Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, JT. Yeah, I mean, the RTM score loves these guys in terms of their usage. JT's been awesome this year.
Great matchup.
Kind of slow
if
start.
They both play.
Yeah, so JT has a mild high ankle sprain. Who knows what that means?
It's getting lower.
Again, I watched him do an interview with Cam Wolf after the game. He did not seem like someone who was like, my season's done. Like, he did not seem like somebody who was like, I'm severely injured. So who knows what happens. I wasn't shocked he didn't practice today. He's going to need to get a limited in tomorrow and then probably a full or a second limited on Friday. We'll see what happens there. He could miss a game. I don't think he misses more than 2 games at the most. So we'll see how that shakes out. But it's a great matchup if he plays. And Joe Mixon's in an awesome spot against a really weak linebacking middle of the defense group that the weak linebacking core that the Buffalo Bills have. I feel really good about Mixon if he plays. He's going to be the bell cow. They do not want to. They were not going to make Cam Akers the bell cow. They had 4 guys at running back last week. That was like the most committee backfield ever. And then I got to get to the B-Robs, both Bijan and Brian, because there's been a lot. That's been the meme this week. If you had drafted Brian Robinson over Bijan.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I told you guys this was going to happen, right? I was like, Bijan is either workhorse, whatever. But I'm not victory lapping here. I think people got this twisted. Because if Bijan doesn't have that 30-yard reception touchdown get called back, like he has like a 20-point day. He had a great day if he doesn't get that touchdown called back. And Bijan was hurt. He had a shoulder injury. He's dealing with a hamstring. I think it's very realistic that they worked in Algier because Algier's healthier than Bijan right now, and they want to lessen the load, and they just rode with the hot hand. It's like Algier's a good running back, but people need to chill with Bijan Robinson. Like, it's coming. He looks good. He looks great in pass pro. He looks explosive. It doesn't help that his backup's good, but I'm not panicking on Bijan Robinson here. And again, I came into this kind of hating on Bijan before the season started because I didn't think he belonged in that top echelon. Do you have any thoughts on the Robinsons, on Bijan in particular, before we get to tier 3?
No, I mean, great run out so far for Brian Robinson. I did see that he popped up with an injury today. So
knee.
Yeah, some type of knee injury probably occurred in practice. Good get right spot for Bijan, though. I mean, there are so many players hurt on Tampa Bay on both sides of the football for them. So.
Yeah. I could see Bijan ripping off some big runs. Thursday night football. Falcons Bucks is actually kind of a fun game. So hopefully we get a good Thursday night game. That rarely happens. Tier 3 here. I cannot believe my eyes. Is that Chuba? Oh my goodness. I have Chuba here as the 13th running back on the slate. So running backs 13 through 18. I have Chuba Hubbard, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Rhamondre, Stevenson. This tier, kind of down on everyone in this tier. I think I'm just down so I can move Achane up and JT up and Joe Mixon up. I think that's the only reason I'm down is because I think those guys are playing. I will say, call outs in this tier. Chuba's been awesome. He's got a good matchup against Chicago. You're for sure starting him. It's been one of the better picks in fantasy so far. You were like, oh, this is an RB2 that's now basically an RB1 with bye weeks and injuries. So good on you if you drafted Chuba. Worried about Josh Jacobs. Definitely worried. Emmanuel Wilson is eating into that backfield timeshare, and this might just be a really pass-happy offense that might not want to run the ball that much, which isn't that great for Josh Jacobs. We shall see, though. Good matchup against the Rams, so we'll see if Jacobs hits home. A little bit down on James Cook, purely matchup-based. He's an efficiency guy. RB13 with RB32 usage. He'll probably do well if he hits one of his big plays or scores a touchdown, but Houston's good against the run. James Conner, San Francisco's gettable. I don't have him as a top 12 play. He's been the RB20 with the RB30 usage. I don't really know where top 12 James Conner's coming from, but I still think he's a good play this week. Swift resurrected himself, and then Rhamondre. This Rhamondre thing is fucking hilarious. Okay, so they're talking about benching him.
Yeah.
For Antonio. Okay, they're going to bench him for fumbling problems. For literally the man who has fumbleitis. I've watched this man, Antonio Gibson, fumble more footballs in my football career watching than I think anyone. When I think of a guy who's going to fumble and lose time for playing, I think of Antonio Gibson. So it's fucking hilarious. Sorry for the F-bomb if you're watching with your kids. But I think it's hilarious that Rhamondre Stevenson might get benched for fumbling because like they're going to play Antonio Gibson. So this is a weird tier, man. This is the most week 5 bye week injury tier ever that these guys are top 18 plays. But any thoughts on tier 3 before we get to tier 4?
Chuba Hubbard like has some surprising viability. Like Jonathan Brooks still not activated yet off the pup. Like they could just be rolling him out slow, but like over the last 2 weeks, 4th in both expected fantasy points per game and fantasy points per game. So, he's got like some serious viable usage at the running back. Andy Dalton's got it humming. And like DeAndre Swift and Rhamondre Stevenson, like if you're Rhamondre, just look at what DeAndre Swift did. There were some light threats that Rojo and other running backs would get involved. Maybe it was just to spark a fire under DeAndre Swift's ass, but he was very involved in the pass game. Like season high 57.7 route percentage last week. Target share was way up. The usage was fine in like the running back world, but spiked with the passing game stuff. And maybe Rhamondre is just, that's their way of being like, hey, buddy, like figure it out. They can't seriously try to Antonio Gibson. That's not serious football.
Gibson's looked okay. Gibson's huge. Pause. But have you seen how big he is now? The man is a freight train. I did not know Antonio Gibson is like, I saw him in person. I was at the Niner game. And I was like, oh my goodness.
He had one big play, though. He had one explosive play.
No, I meant just like he's a huge running back. I never, because he's a converted wide receiver, and you're like, oh, this guy's like shifty, he catches passes. And he's coming into the game, and I'm like, wow, that guy looks like a bruiser now. It's just kind of crazy to see him evolve as an NFL player. Yeah, I'm still buying. I mean, Mondre's got an amazing matchup against Miami. Like, I feel like he gotta ride with Rhamondre one more time. This is a good week to play him, if anything. Tier 4 here. This is the good luck tier. This is I'm losing touches. I'm in a timeshare. This could go either way tier. Running backs 19 to 28. Zach Moss, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Jerome Ford, Motor Singletary, Justice Hill, Kareem Hunt, Chase Brown, Rachaad White, Bucky Irving. Guys that I have stands on versus ECR, down on Etienne. I'm down on Etienne. Down. I don't want anything to do with the Jags. And Tank Bigsby has looked amazing. I never thought I'd say this in the year 2024. Tank Bigsby and QJ look good this year. It's kind of crazy. Maybe rookie years aren't a death sentence like we've thought they've been for the past couple seasons.
Usually they are. Usually we know.
Yeah.
They could just be outliers.
But yeah, I'm really out on Etienne this week. I like Zach Moss. Good RTM score. He's ceding touches to Chase Brown. He's ceding touches to Chase Brown. He's in a tough matchup, but he's got a pretty reliable role. He plays on pass downs. You got to like what Zach Moss has been giving you this year so far through the season as the RB22. I'm super high on Justice Hill. Well, the RTM score is pretty high on Justice Hill.
Hey, his
he
target
just has
share
such a good receiving
man.
role.
Yeah.
He just has such a good receiving role. Like, where is Mark Andrews' production going? It's going to Justice Hill. Like, that's where that's going, guys. You could
Justice Hill down there somewhere.
You could play him and the King together. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if I would, but if you're super banged up, Cincinnati doesn't have a very good rush defense. You could definitely play them. I got both the Bucks guys in here. I don't really know what to do with it. It's becoming more 50-50. Sade still has pretty valuable pass down work. It's just, I don't know. These guys are both fringe RB2s until one of them really establishes themselves. And then Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt basically won his audition to be the lead back in this backfield. We're going to see what he can do against New Orleans on Monday night, but I'm definitely intrigued by him. I'm going to call out in this tier, Devin Singletary did not practice today with a groin.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. He may or may not play. If he's not going to play, you should be looking at Tyrone Tracy on the waivers. Could be a nice little pickup. Keegan, tier 4. Anyone here speaking your language?
I don't know about speaking my language. Like, be on the lookout for the Travis Etienne usage. I mean, Bigsby's been so much more effective with the ball in his hand, and he also got both of the rush attempts inside the 5-yard line last week, which is not great for Etienne. Maybe this is a coaching issue, and maybe Etienne's just falling off. Like he kind of like he's not the most efficient running back, but he is a good running back. So just kind of like keep your eye on that. The Zach Moss, Chase Brown thing is interesting. Like Chase Brown got oddly enough to like goal to go, like 5-yard line inside of 5 touches last week, which was weird. But that's very much like 1A, 1B with Moss still being the 1B. I think you make a good call out. He's going to play on a lot of the passing downs as well, too, specifically for pass pro. But this could be a shootout with Baltimore. So it's tough to say who the Cincinnati back you want is this week. It could be both of them. I kind of expect Baltimore to get out ahead a little bit, and because the Bengals defense is terrible. So that game script is going to be a huge part of where Zach Moss and Chase Brown end up. And then lastly, in this range, like speaking my name, I don't know if there's one that speaks my name, but if Najee Harris were to have a good week, it would be this week, right?
Oh, dude, it was bad how much better Scordero looked than him. It was bad how much better. Well, basically all backup running backs look better than the starters this week for some reason, but 30-year-old Cordell Patterson looked much more explosive and comfortable in this Arthur Smith scheme. I almost said scheme. This Arthur Smith scheme than Najee Harris does, which kind of brutal. I don't think Jalen Warren's going to play this week either.
Yeah, I think he's still going to recover. So I don't know. The Dallas has been pretty bad against the run this year. They have 2 key defensive players like on the line, DeMarcus Lawrence and Michael Parsons out again this week. So that's got to be an opportunity for Najee Harris to hopefully score, get in the end zone, at least be a little more efficient on the touches, right? And then also lastly, Bucky Irving creeping up into usage, season high in snap share and route share last week and expected fantasy points. I'm not saying Rachaad White is going to lose his job soon. I really don't believe that, but that makes that backfield really tricky to be confident in starting. When we started the season, it was like, I can start Rachaad White as my RB2, no problem. But things are going to continue to change there.
I think what's good with that backfield is that offense is really good. So
yep.
You roll out one of those guys, it's like...
And they get close to the end zone. Maybe Mike Evans gets tackled at the 2 or something, or Godwin does, per usual. And you just hope it's Bucky.
Liam Cohen's got it dialed, man. Baker's awesome right now. Again, it's not sexy, but I'm totally fine playing either of those guys. White is not going to feel great, but White's going to get his 13, 14 looks.
Yeah, I've got a roster that's pretty banged up that will be including Najee Harris and Bucky Irving and maybe Travis Etienne's counterpart in my starting lineup this week. So
not to say, I'm playing Bucky against you, so I'm ravaged by injuries this week. So, but yeah, I think Bucky's in the lineup.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And Atlanta's been pretty good against the run, so we'll see how that shakes out. All right, tier 5 here, running backs 29 through 37. Austin Ekeler is coming back from a concussion. I've got him at 29. Roschon Johnson 30. Oh, I did it again. I double counted. I've got the BOGO. Yeah. It's 47 running backs.
I'll adjust these on the fly for you guys.
Yeah, Zack Charbonnet, running back 31. Javonte Williams 32. Rico Dowdle 33. Alexander Mattison, 34. Braelon Allen, 35. Antonio Gibson, 36. Tyler Algier, 37. Trey Sermon, 38. I'd say the one I have a pretty big stand on is Trey Sermon. I feel like people are going to come into this week and start Sermon and start him confidently.
Is this a bias thing? I feel like the listeners should know where you're coming from here.
So I'm a Niner fan, and I have firsthand experience of how bad of a football player Trey Sermon is. And I love Shane Steichen, and I understand that there might be something compelling about Trey Sermon based off what he did at Ohio State, but I don't think he's very good. And I would not be shocked, if it's a Cam Akers situation where all of a sudden Tyler Goodson is getting a ton of snaps, much like Dar Ogunbowale.
It's not just Trey Sermon getting touches. It will be other people getting touches.
His saving grace, though, is that he's pretty good in pass pro. He's actually a really good blocker. They play him in the fourth quarter when they're losing and they're passing. They're like, we're just going to have him back there. Does he get touches? No. Does he get the ball thrown to him? Not really. So like we've seen this guy get a ton of snaps in pass pro and have a role, but it's not like a dynamic role. I don't know. I could be wrong here. I could be biased, but like, and I don't fault anyone for rolling with Sermon and putting their lineup, especially with injuries and buys. But
yeah, 86% of the snaps
I'm not
he
buying
handled when Jonathan Taylor went out. After he went out, Trey Sermon handled it, and it's a really small sample size. But
what'd he do with him?
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think he's good.
Yeah, but
I don't think he's good.
I don't have any like massive call outs in this tier. I was pretty excited about the Rojo usage, and then DeAndre Swift came in and said, not so fast.
He still had 10 points. He still scored a touchdown.
Yes.
If Motor Singletary can't go, I'm going to have to play Roschon Johnson against Carolina. Don't hate it. I really don't hate it. Because if they kick, we love Khalil Herbert on this show, but if they kick Khalil Herbert to the curb and it's just them two, that makes things simpler.
Yeah, that's a fine
like
backfield.
we know who to start. Yeah, like it's like, okay, Rojo's going to see the 30 to 40% of the touches, but he gets to catch the ball. He plays on third down and he's getting goal line looks. Like, well, yeah, we can ride with Rojo.
I don't know, because people are probably going to try and jump on it pretty quickly. You probably already gone through your waivers and picked him up. I'm not sure if I can start Alexander Mattison with confidence yet. The usage is growing, but what he's doing with the football is still not very impressive. So be careful with Mattison this week. Maybe get another week before you put him in the lineup.
He's got the pass catching role. Like he's actually been efficient. So running back 43 usage, running back 33 production. He's been better, and I think him playing next to Zamir White, it's like when you used to play Little League and you'd put the donut on the bat, right? And then you take the donut off and you could swing way faster, and you just felt legit. Like that's Zamir White, and when you take him off the field, it's like, whoa, is this Ashton Jeanty? Like where is this guy coming from? Like Zamir White's that bad. These guys are all backups for the most part, but like you could probably play him. I think Dowdle's the one here too. Probably should be higher. I don't know why I've Dowdle so low. Oh, the RTM score doesn't like him because his Pittsburgh matchup stinks. But Dowdle's consolidated. He's clearly the lead back in this offense now. Scored a touchdown last week. I'd say he's the one to be the most excited about to start. Absolutely. And I also like Ekeler. Eckler's been good when he's played, and this is a good run game. Cleveland's been good against running backs, but Daniels is going to probably get Ekeler 3 or 4 catches. Whatever Ekeler does with it is what he does with it. But
yeah, favorite starts, like if you had to, are got to be Ekeler, Rico. I want to say Algier, honestly. Algier, probably Trey Sermon, especially if Jonathan Taylor's out. But other than that, like I'm not starting Braelon this week, probably, at least on the rosters that I have him on. Definitely not starting Javonte. But I think that's that for that tier.
Tier 7. Emmanuel, running backs 39 to 47. Emmanuel Wilson, Miles Sanders, Tank Bigsby, Zamir White, Jaleel McLaughlin, Samaje Perine, Ty Chandler, Dante Foreman, and Raheem Mostert. Most of these guys are droppable. Like Wilson, you got to keep. He's kind of starting to take more of a share.
Wilson has now emerged as like an RB2 behind a very good running back in a very good offense. If anything were to happen to Josh Jacobs, like I would for sure be rostering Emmanuel Sanders. I feel the same way about Tank Bigsby in this range. And
Zamir White's gone, dude. I don't know why I keep ranking him.
Yeah, that's a cut. I don't even know if like he should be factoring into rankings anymore at all.
McLaughlin stunk, but this is a good matchup against Vegas. This whole offense has just been bad. Like until Bo Nix can learn the forward pass, I don't think I just think defenses are like, we're going to put 8 in the box. We dare you to complete a fucking pass, and they can't do it, So until the quarterback play improves, I think it's going to be pretty hard for any one of these running backs to hit home and do well, especially McLaughlin. Perine has a specialized role. I love Ty Chandler, but was last week's usage just because it was the Aaron Jones revenge game and they plan to get Chandler more run. Chandler's looked awesome when they've played him. So he's more of a handcuff at this point, though. Like you're just waiting on the hammy pull for Aaron Jones like he does every year, but we'll see. And then Mostert's super interesting. You can run on New England. You have to imagine Mostert comes back, right? It's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's been 3 weeks since he's been out, and they didn't put him on IR.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to think he comes back this week.
Would hope so.
I think that would be awesome for Achane. Let's get Achane more
give him some
less
breathers.
Obvious run situations. Yeah, like, let's throw him the ball a little bit more. But I love Mike McDaniel, but what the hell is going on over there?
He's not seeing the board clearly.
The offense is so broken. Like, I get that Tua mitigates how bad their offensive line is, but you'd think that they could cobble together a game plan. But their backup quarterbacks aren't good. Like, I can't believe Skylar Thompson was their backup quarterback when their quarterback has major concussion issues. Like, I can't believe they didn't have a better plan in place as their backup.
Hopefully we get to see some positive Raheem Mostert usage. I know Achane could use it. But yeah, there's not a lot. Unfortunately, I will be starting Tank Bigsby in a league this week.
I think Bigsby's startable in this tier. That's about it. Honestly, I mean, I guess you could play P. Ryan.
Some good handcuffs in this tier. Yeah, P. Ryan, after all that work Hunt did last week, of course, gets the goal line rush and falls in the end zone. That was brutal. But.
Yeah, he's just like a pass. He's just Trey Sermon. But no one has these illusions that if like P. Ryan would take over, I'm just telling you the truth here. I guess guy I'm most excited to see play this week. I want to see Bijan. He's going to have an extra day of rest. He's playing on Thursday as less rest. I thought
he's got the less rest. Yeah, he's playing tomorrow night as we record this on Wednesday. But that's a good call. I would love to see a big blowout Bijan game.
Or just a decent game. And then this tier here too is super interesting. Like, what's Josh Jacobs going to do in a really good matchup against the Rams? Like, does Rhamondre take advantage of this matchup? Does DeAndre Swift have another good game after his probably best game he's had in a couple of years? It's a lot going on in this tier.
Yeah, most maybe there's three names. Like, what can we learn from these players? Like, I think Jacob needs a really solid game for his owners to get back to being happy about the draft pick. Most excited, though, I think, to watch this weekend is the continued resurgence of the old guys. Got to see Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. Just keep it going, man. It's pretty outrageous.
Oh, I take it back. I want to watch K9 again.
It was good to have him back. Like, when K9 doesn't play, you kind of forget what an electric player is. Like, that bounce out that he had to like the corner of the end zone is completely stuffed.
Just squiggles.
Dead and
just squiggles. Just where he bounces it. Like,
his game is so fun to me because it doesn't always look pretty. Like, he's not like Derrick Henry finds the hole, hits the hole, right? Like, Kenneth Walker is like, I'll find the field. He's not like looking for holes sometimes, which is like maybe it's a detriment, but he's finding the field always.
I know, Kenneth, you're watching. I just want to thank you because you filled a Rashee Rice size hole in my soul. Thank you, sir, for what you did. That was special for what you put up there on Monday night, man. But yeah, that's it. That's 47 running backs on honestly one of the worst running back slates. Like, if we don't get Mixon or Taylor, this is honestly a garbage running back slate. So if you're starting Bigsby, I don't really think it matters. I honestly don't think it really
Nothing matters, Sean. We're all just specks of dust floating on a space rock,
Hey, look, we're going to die someday. And all that matters is that Kenneth Walker won you a Monday Night Miracle at the end of the day. Keegan, thank you so much for joining. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Again, the rankings are in the description of this episode. Thank you, everybody. Until next time.